Yes, we did our best bets. Question of the week. This is a big one, and we've been asked about this in the Discord, and a lot going on about it. So Dana White recently said no Brock Lesnar, no Ronda Rousey at UFC 300, but then he also said never say never, because as we know, Dana says a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so your question is, if you had both back for UFC 300, who would you book them against? With the catch being it can't be a title fight, which it's too bad because there's a title fight that I would do for Brock Lesnar.
Title fight for both of them, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, I've got to fight for Ronda Rousey for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny because in my head, I read this and then I was driving and, in my head, I was thinking, oh, I thought you would ask, like, I thought your question was put together the UFC 300 card. So no. I'm like, in my head,
I just had like 2 fights for them.
Yeah. I had a 5-fight card in my head, but so if it's just for Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey, I think Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate, I would do.
Okay.
And for Brock, gosh, I don't know. Like, I mean, if Cormier could fight again, I would do that, but I don't think he's ever fighting again, and I don't think he could. I don't think he can make I'm not even sure he can make 265. And Jones is the obvious fight, but he's the champion, so we can't do that unless you did a non-title fight. But that's kind of bogus. Maybe you can get if you can get Francis Ngannou back, you could do that, but that's Derek Lewis. There's the fight: Brock Lesnar and Derek Lewis.
Damn, you took the one.
Oh, did I? Okay.
You took. I had the same too, but okay. I got another one for Ronda.
Okay. But Derek Lewis, it just came to me.
Yeah, like my whole thing when I asked the question was Brock and Derek Lewis. Just have some fucking fun.
Yeah, well, that's the same. It's similar to Mark Hunt.
Yeah.
Right. Like at UFC. And you know what? If they could get Brock Lesnar to agree to this, I mean, we're talking about Jim Miller, who's going to be on this card. I mean, Brock would also be 100, 200, 300.
Yeah.
I mean, and the end, you could almost headline with it, but
I mean, the other guy would be Tai Tuivasa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. And both those fights are, I mean, he's got a puncher's chance. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't favor him, but
or you do Stipe if Stipe's not the champion. But
yeah, I mean, honestly, the draw is Brock, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, to me, of those three, that's the least appealing to me, and also the one that Brock Lesnar has the least chance to win. You could also maybe even bring back, I don't know. I was thinking like Junior Dos Santos or something.
People who are on the roster.
Yeah.
You're not bringing anybody back or anybody in special. It's somebody who's on the roster.
Bobby Lashley. Okay, who's your other fight for Ronda?
Ronda, the obvious one would be Miesha Tate, but I'm going to throw a wild card one out there. And I would say her against, barring that she's not a champion, Valentina Shevchenko. I think Shevchenko would destroy her on the feet.
Yeah.
But if it went to the ground, I think it would be super, super interesting on the
I don't think it would go to the ground. Although she is giving up size.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
You could, what a super compelling one would also be, but I think Ronda would get killed if they could bring in Kayla Harrison. But that, I mean, I think she's way out of her league.
I'm just talking, but like I said, I'm talking about people who are on the roster would make it a logical choice. Yeah. I mean, and the thing about this, spurred this on, was Dana did an interview with the SI, and he, I think it was Sports Illustrated. It was Justin Barrasso, and I think he did the whole never say never, even though he doesn't really think it. And then there was that Daily Mail rumor that going around about Ronda preparing to fight at UFC 300, which I said was bullshit. I know it was bullshit. Dana said it was bullshit, but at the same time, you can always never say never on that. And of course, Dana says a lot of things. And then the one thing that I found interesting about Brock was Cody Rhodes. When they were going into their match at SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes publicly said that Brock was working with a strength and conditioning coach, which I don't know why he would be working with a strength and conditioning coach just for WWE.
And he looked cut.
He looked ridiculous. He looked, you know what, honestly, he looked like he did when he was going back to the UFC for UFC 200.
When he fought Mark Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. When he, because we remember that because he had wrestled, Moxley, Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania. And then you saw him there, and then as you saw him gradually the next couple months, he was getting leaner and leaner and more cut, leaner and more cut.
And the other thing is USADA has basically said, like, I mean, UFC doesn't really even have to like have these fighters enter the drug pool. Like, they basically washed their hands of it.
USADA's basically said UFC can do whatever they want.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they want to bring Brock Lesnar in on, like 1 month's notice and put him in the cage, and then they drug test him and they know he's going to fail, but they don't care. Like, he's gonna fail, but they're gonna make their money. He's gonna make his money, and then he'll get suspended, and doesn't matter because he's not gonna fight again.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I think of the two, I think Brock Lesnar is most likely, but I wouldn't put the odds of either one of them fighting again at more than maybe 20%.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it either, but it'd be funny. It'd be like what Brock says. Hey, Brock, you're suspended 2 years because you failed drug test. I'm retired, buddy. It'll be 4 years from now. Who cares?
Yeah, and then and then he'll come back for UFC 400. But yeah, I would love to see it. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
but
I don't think it's going to happen. But
if it
this
did,
is
it
a
would be massive.
It was a hypothetical question.
Yeah,
so
it'd be massive. But I would also
too many
say,
people talk about. I think as long as those two are still doing something, something whether especially involving WWE, even though Ronda's gone now. But as long as
Brock's gone too, so that's what's sparking this.
He's gone, but he's not gone.
Right. He's Ronda's
gone. Ronda's gone. She's not under contract.
But they're both.
Brock is still under contract,
and as well, because both companies are under the same umbrella, it's going to get people talking, and it's much easier to do something like this once Endeavor takes over, which will be, but within the next month. And then at that point, like, they still have to do a contract with the actual organization, but it becomes a lot easier when you're dealing with the same overlords or whatever, however you want to word it. I would also say, just because I thought of it, I would also, if you're doing UFC 300, and you get one or both of these fighters on there, you've got to find a way to get Bo Nickel on that main card to get as many people as possible watching him, as well as possibly even Sean O'Malley. I would want him on this card as well.
You're going off tangents.
I know, but I just wanted to say it because I had it in my head. So, but I think we're on the same page there. Derek Lewis and Miesha Tate. Look at Dana. And the other thing is, neither one of those two has anything better to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Miesha Tate's, they're putting her in these random fights, and Derek Lewis is going to be headlining against, heavyweight of the week for the next 3-4 years.